We're always looking for the next big thing to live longer, right? The latest diet, some new workout craze. But what if the best advice isn't new at all? What if it's been sitting there, waiting for us, for almost 2,000 years? We're going to dive into some ancient wisdom that feels, well, surprisingly modern.
And that is the big question, isn't it? Today we're going to unpack this absolutely fascinating ancient text that lays out a roadmap for dodging the things that can cut life short. And we're not talking about fate here, but about choices and circumstances. So this is it. This is our source, the Sutra on the Nine Untimely Deaths. Now this was translated into Chinese almost 2 millennia ago. And its focus isn't on destiny or karma in the way you might think. Nope, it's actually this incredibly practical guide to spotting and just steering clear of avoidable dangers in your day-to-day life.
All right, so let's really dig into the core idea of this ancient guide. It's all built around this one very specific concept that draws a line between a natural death at the end of a full life and one that happens way too soon. The Sutra calls this an untimely death. And that word right there, avoidable, that's the whole key. This isn't about some epic battle with fate. It's just about applying a little wisdom and awareness to the world around you and the choices you're making every single day. It's all about prevention.
So the text breaks it down into 9 specific causes for these untimely deaths. And to make this ancient wisdom a little easier for us to digest, we've kind of grouped them into 3 big areas: how you take care of your body, how you manage your mind, and how you navigate the world around you.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the absolute foundation of it all, your physical health. A full 5 of the 9 causes are directly about how we treat our bodies, especially when it comes to what we eat and, well, other bodily functions. So, those 5 points, we can actually boil them down into 3 really powerful, simple steps. First, eat with moderation. The Sutra warns against eating when you're already full or just plain eating too much. Simple enough. Second, eat with awareness. This means not eating food your body isn't used to, maybe when you're traveling, and not piling a new meal on top of one that hasn't even digested yet. And third, listen to your body. I love this one. The text is super direct about not suppressing natural functions, like needing the bathroom, burping, or passing gas. Seriously, it's basically ancient permission to just, not hold it in.
All right, moving on from the body, let's talk about the mind. This next part deals with our internal moral compass, but also the huge influence of our external environment, and by that, I mean the people we choose to surround ourselves with.
And this is what I find so cool about this part. The text strikes this perfect balance. On one hand, the 6th cause warns against breaking basic moral rules. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie. That's your internal guide. But then, the 7th cause warns against hanging out with evil companions or bad influences. That's all about protecting yourself from the outside. The Sutra totally gets that who you are and who you're with are deeply, deeply connected.
And the Sutra doesn't pull any punches when it comes to the consequences. Breaking the rules could get you in trouble with the law or make someone want revenge. Hanging out with the wrong people could get you blamed for their crimes. Classic guilt by association. The text even points out that the constant fear and worry from living that kind of life can actually, by itself, lead you to an early grave. Okay, so that brings us to our last area of wisdom, just navigating the physical world around you. The final 2 causes are all about good old-fashioned practical, situational awareness to avoid clear and present danger. So, the ancient text says stuff like not entering villages at improper times, which for us today just means avoid sketchy situations and places, right? It warns against snooping in people's houses or getting mixed up in their fights. And then you have the really blunt advice, avoid what is obviously dangerous. The Sutra literally lists things like vicious horses, mad bullocks, snakes, and fire. For us, that's staying away from angry drunks, reckless drivers, and just obvious hazards. It's timeless common sense. Okay, so we've gone through all 9 things to avoid. But it kind of begs a bigger question, doesn't it? Why? What's the point of all this carefulness? Is the goal just to stack up more birthdays? Well, according to this sutra, the answer is a big, resounding no. The text wraps up by explaining the ultimate reward for using all this wisdom. And it's not just about survival. It's about what survival makes possible. There are actually 2 huge benefits promised to anyone who follows this advice. So benefit number 1 is, well, pretty obvious. A long life. By mindfully avoiding these 9 causes of an early death, you give yourself the gift of more time. It's the simple, practical outcome. But right away, the text makes it clear that's not the whole story. Longevity for its own sake isn't the real prize. A long life is just the vessel. It's the opportunity for something way more profound. It's the means to a much greater end.
And this is the real game changer. The second and way more important benefit is the opportunity for wisdom. Having more time on this planet means you have more time to learn, to understand yourself and the world, to practice compassion, and to actually grow as a person.
There's this beautiful line in the Sutra that just hits the nail on the head. It says a long life gives you the chance to hear the way, in other words, to learn wisdom, and just as crucial, the time to actually practice it. A long life is basically the runway for your personal and spiritual development.
And really, that's where we'll leave it. This 2,000-year-old text doesn't just ask us to live longer. It challenges us to really think about why we even want to. It reframes a long life not as the goal itself, but as the ultimate opportunity. So the question it leaves every single one of us with is, what would you do with that opportunity?